The delegation arrived at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in London, following their 5-day visit to Turkey. They felt the Turks they met thought British Muslims were oppressed in the UK and dispelled that myth.
We basically said to them that there was no such thing. I think they were particularly referring to 7/7, and we did say to them, yes, there was a reaction, but there was only from a very small minority, where they attacked young girls who were wearing headscarf, and a few people tried to set fire to the few mosques in Kent and Essex and so on. But so that just lasted for a few weeks, and after that, everything was back to normal, and that we have a complete freedom to do what we want. We can wear, our women can wear headscarf wherever they want to. This was, of course, a freedom that they don't necessarily enjoy. And not only that, we're actually free to even propagate Islam.
They also found it hard to understand how Muslims could have dual identities in Britain.
I thought that they were amazed by us, actually, in the sense that how is it that we're able to maintain multiple identities? How is it that we can retain to be Pakistani, British and Muslim, and are accessing religious freedoms in which the state is not afraid from? For example, the symbolisms of the hijab was quite clearly an indication that many Turks were fearful, or at least those we talked, that if the hijab was prominent, they would resort back to a sort of mullah state. But they were quite intrigued by the fact we had delegates who wore hijab and didn't wear hijab, and there was no sort of anyone was at each other's throat. It was live and let live, really.
Turkish Foreign Minister Ali Babakan has recently been in London for talks with British Foreign Secretary David Miliband. High on the agenda was Turkey's accession to the EU, a question that's dragged on for 20 years, but still has support in their country and from Britain.
Certainly in Istanbul, many people there actually felt that they were part of Europe. There were quite a few people who actually, in fact still the majority of people want to become members of the European Union, and they feel that it will give them more freedom, it will give them more choice, and then if there are issues they can then be taken to European court and so on. Although some issues they can still, but they feel that they will have more freedom. However, from what we understood, the support for Turkey joining European Union seems to be diminishing, because some people are just getting frustrated. They've been trying to join the European Union for the last 20 years. It's not happening, and they think that maybe it's because other people don't want them because it seems to be a Muslim country and so on. So we did advise them that, look, they need to be patient, okay, and just slowly meet the criteria, and certainly there's a lot of support for them joining the European Union.
Quite clearly, Turks are very passionate about that, and they appreciate the fact that we travel to show our support. And I feel that 20 years into it, they're still there. But there's a feeling of apprehension now, like, do they really want us or do they really not want us? So that by the mere fact of going there, showing us support, I felt it gave a lot of people second wind.
A key factor for the Turks was the way British Muslims have freedoms that they are still struggling with.
They were like surprised, how is it that you are able to function as a Muslim in a non-Muslim state, and whereas they're predominantly a Muslim in a secular democratic state, and they're struggling with several things. And I think in part that's to do with the unique history of Turkey. That has to play a large part as to the reason why they're trying to grapple with the past as well as trying to move forward.
And it's felt the delegation left a lasting impression with the Turks that they met.
We provided like a fresh understanding of the world events, an incredibly diverse community. They were amazed by the fact there were 2 million Muslims living in England and over 1,500 mosques. So initially they were quite skeptical, like, okay, yeah, you're just a suppressed because we read everything in the newspaper. But after getting to know us and discussing about the landscape of Islam in Britain, they were intrigued.
The FCO believes this type of visit is vital to ensure building strong Anglo-Turkish Muslim relations and to show support for Turkey's accession to the EU.